Now, I didn't move to Medellin because of some tax hack or tropical fantasy, right? I simply moved here because I actually was chasing peace, focus, and a lifestyle I couldn't find anywhere else in the world, basically. Let's rewind for a second. The first time I actually came to Medellin, I didn't like it at all. I actually thought that the culture was super confusing to me. Pace was super slow, and I didn't really know anyone, and there was like a lot of prostitution on the streets, and I was just super confused what the hell was going on here, right? I was still deep in the hustle mode and waking up early for client calls, doing a lot of back-to-back meetings, and the city just kind of like fell off because I didn't really know it. Then I started traveling a lot. I went to Tulum, Brazil, I went to Bali, Cape Town, London, New York, Tokyo, Seoul, Bangkok. With every trip, I've lived in some of these places for a couple months at the same time, and I kept finding myself drawn back to Medellin for some reason, which was 100 little things. It wasn't just like one thing. It was the weather, for example, the rhythm of the city, the people, and the contrast, and also those like differences between Medellin and all these other cities that I traveled to. Also, some of my like smartest friends, 7, 8 figure business owners, they also all kept flying back here, and they could live anywhere in the world, and they kept choosing this place specifically. Now, eventually, I started knowing more about like the people. My network expanded. I was going to high-end dinners, trips, music events, and super interesting meetups, which I kind of stopped doing because I kind of thought they were boring at some point because it was too much about business. I also started dating on top of that, living, breathing, and I stopped seeing Medellin as like a place to visit and started seeing it more as home the more I started to know about it. Now, let's start with the obvious, right? Like Medellin is calm and you feel it the second that you land. You don't really get like that frantic, overstimulated feeling you get from cities like New York or London. It's spacious, green, and friendly. And your money stretches here too. Like I usually spend anywhere from 6 to 8K a month here for like a super high-end lifestyle. And in a city like where I used to live, like New York, London, LA, Miami, etc., I'd need at least like 50 to 100K per month to kind of like live the same way. And I've lived in most of these cities as well for months at a time. I live well, but the real value of Medellin is in the lifestyle flow. Like every other day, I'm running right now, I'm working out, doing pedal, or going on a hike in nature, which wasn't always the same, right? I used to party a lot and do all that stuff and got a lot of certain things out of my system. Now it's also a lot of paddle, again, hiking in nature. And if I need to reset, I just drive out like 30 minutes and I'm in a lush countryside or on my way to a waterfall or having a beautiful lunch in the middle of nature overlooking like the whole valley of Medellin. I've had some of my most productive work seasons here, I would say. And especially when I stay for like 3 months straight and fall into the rhythm, everything becomes frictionless. Like the food, the gym, the meetings, the view, and the people and the staff that is helping us from day to day as well. Now, let's talk a little bit more about that, like the community. Like most of my closest friends here actually run businesses. They're founders, they're creatives, they're builders, and some stay long term and some fly in and out, but they always come back. That's one thing, is that Medellin has this magnetic pool that keeps high value people from basically coming back. Let's not like sugarcoat everything, right? Because this place obviously isn't perfect. No place almost is. And let's start with like the safety. Yes, we've been robbed before. Like a friend was holding a bag, not paying attention, and poof, it was gone, right? Or we had a friend that got pickpocketed right outside of a festival and we got held up at gunpoint and we luckily got away and jumped into a cab. But this stuff happens. We basically made a mistake of that one time by confronting the guy that basically pickpocketed us. We ended up getting ambushed by 10 others, basically with guns and knives, which was wild. A friend of mine, actually, another one, actually got scopolamine, one of the scariest drugs out there, after a date. And that is not normal, but it definitely happens a lot here. Like you gotta be smart, you gotta stay aware, and you cannot simply get too comfortable. And about all of this, there's of course a lot of noise. Like people love their parties here. And there's mariachi bands, 5 a.m. rooftop DJs, fireworks for absolutely no reason sometimes. And it's part of the culture, you gotta respect it. Like I've adapted, I sleep with sometimes AirPods and soundproofing. If you're the early to rise type, like you'll sometimes need some tricks to adjust, right? You can't just like complain about everything and all the noise, etc., that sometimes goes on in this city, because this city does love to take holidays. Like Colombia culture has a lot of holidays. You can look it up the internet, or I'll show some pictures on the screen of how many holidays it actually has, but I feel like every other week there's a holiday here. And also, this might surprise you, but the dating culture here is both incredible but also chaotic. Like you'll meet women who are super elegant, driven, and super genuine, and you'll meet others who are only here for the status, lifestyle, and the money, as you may have heard online. Like you've got to know the difference, and it's very hard to sometimes distinguish that, especially here, or especially if you're newer. And if you're the type who comes here just to smash smash everything inside, people will know, right? If you're just here basically for sex, like people can smell it. And the girls here are a lot smarter than you think. You'll be basically found out super fast. So you gotta respect the culture and just respect the people because they'll basically kick back at you. People ask me all the time, can you actually build a business out here? And my answer is absolutely. Medellin is one of the best environments for focused deep work that I've ever experienced. Like a lot of people that I know, they come here to build. And the internet infrastructure is pretty solid. Like there's fiber in most areas and most of my team is remote and based outside of Colombia. You can absolutely find local talent if you take your time. It's not as easy as hiring in the US or Europe, but it's definitely doable and it's also a lot cheaper. Me, myself, I basically run like multiple verticals here from, let's say, events to ticketing to DJing shows and also the exit operator. And my event team handles everything on the ground in Medellin. Like I have a pretty big team at this point. I would say like 10 to 20 people behind me, helping me with all of this. Now, at the same time, I've got closers, client success managers, executives, assistants, and a full remote team. It all runs like clockwork. I don't even check Stripe myself anymore. I have someone helping me with my emails, taking care of appointments, and making sure everything stays in order. Even after 2 years, I still don't fully understand how relaxed Colombian culture actually is. Like in business, if someone says mañana, it might mean tomorrow or next week or maybe never. It can be frustrating, but the same cultural slowness, like it's what makes life feel so full here, right? And I used to think that hustle was the only way to win, but being here taught me how to be present. And that sometimes slowing down is actually the only way to go faster, and just being happy with what you have is also a very big thing here. Also, the funny story, the first time I actually landed here, I didn't speak Spanish. I didn't have a SIM card. I couldn't even order food because I didn't have internet. And I thought, no way I can live here. I couldn't even communicate with like my Airbnb host who only speaks Spanish. I basically walk into restaurants, markets, clubs, and I'm fully in the rhythm. Like Medellin has a certain beat to it. And once you get into sync with it, it honestly like changes you in a good way. Now, don't get me wrong. I've lived in Cape Town. I've lived in London, done Mykonos, Bali, Rio, Tulum, Sao Paulo, Tokyo, you name it. And yet I keep coming back here because most other places you hit one of these three walls. Like either the people suck, the weather sucks and it's not consistent, or the time zone sucks. And Medellin dodges all three of those. I wake up, early work, move my body, and I see the people that I love. It's not oversaturated yet. It still feels like a playground for people who are ahead of the curve, which is super nice. Now you're probably wondering, like, would I actually live here forever? Maybe. 5 more years? Probably. But if the wrong type of foreigner flood comes here, which happened to a lot of other cities, like for example, like Bali, Bangkok, etc., and people treating the city like it's a playground with no respect, then I'd definitely rethink it. But it definitely hasn't gotten to that point yet. The city is still labeled as dangerous, which is a good thing. Like in most people's mind, which ironically actually protects it from becoming the next Bali, Miami, which I honestly kind of like, or even Bangkok, right? Just to give a comparison. Now, should you move here? Honestly, here's my brutal advice. Don't move here if you're not ready to adapt. If you can't handle a different language, different rhythm, or a slower, let's say like just culture or business culture in general, you'll probably hate it. But if you're the kind of person who can actually navigate new environments, who is social, who takes time to actually build real relationships, and who respects people and cultures, then this is the place that will actually love you back. And Medellin is not perfect, but for the right person, it's an absolute paradise. And I can absolutely guarantee you that. If you want to see what a full week in my life here looks like, including running a business, DJing at shows, flying to the coast, then go watch this vlog right here. I'll recommend it. If it's not up yet, I'll just recommend you some other video. Or click the link down below and I can just tell you about it face to face as well. And also don't forget to subscribe if you want like more brutally honest takes on entrepreneurship, travel, lifestyle design, etc. And maybe comment down below if you've tried to live here or if you visited Medellin before. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace.